Speaking of wide receiver, I do, by the way, believe that the Titans need a receiver. I just don't think they have to use the 4th pick in the draft on a wide receiver unless they're stupid. And doing that is what gets you J.C. Latham. Well, we have to take a tackle. Really? Because this tight end out of Georgia, Brock Bowers, he's pretty good. And so when it comes to that, I'm just saying. Speaking of receiver, so there is one name that I did not put on the free agent board because he's not technically a free agent. And I know that Tyreek Hill's name has been thrown into the mix, but he's injured, older, and I think he's probably going back to Kansas City. But there is one name when it comes to the trade market that I am very intrigued by. And that wide receiver that I'm very intrigued by is DJ Moore of the Chicago Bears. Now, I was surprised today when I noticed that DJ Moore has never made it to a Pro Bowl in his career. I find that to be crazy because the last wave of good receivers, the A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel, DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, that crew, I think included DJ Moore. And DJ Moore's never made a Pro Bowl. I was a little surprised by that. And so I see and I hear that the Chicago Bears are interested. They are shopping. They are looking to move DJ Moore. And so I say, you know what? Let's do some homework on DJ Moore. The same way that we do homework on these guys that are free agents and we put them all on the free agent board, let's do the same thing for DJ Moore. Now, I think the reason that the Bears are looking to move on from DJ Moore is not a DJ Moore problem, but I think it's because they've used a first-round pick on Rome Odunze, they've used a first-round pick on Colston Loveland, and they've used a second-round pick on Luther Burden. And so they've got these young, productive players, and it's pushing out the older, expensive players like DJ Moore and the tight end Cole Kmet. And that makes sense. And DJ Moore's stats last year were down, especially compared to what he's been in the past. And so some people will say that's a drop-off. DJ Moore has fallen down. DJ Moore is on the decline. We don't want DJ Moore. Again, they would be like people that say, this is what the Titans do. Randy Moss and Andre Johnson and Eric Moulds and Julio Jones, and this is what they do. But I don't think DJ Moore really has fallen down. And I don't think DJ Moore is an old pawpaw. I think DJ Moore is 29 years old. But here's what I think is fascinating about DJ Moore. I don't think the Chicago Bears really want much for DJ Moore in return. I asked somebody in Chicago, I said, what do you think it would take to get DJ Moore? He said, 4th. He said, if Ryan Poles can get him for a 4th and get that money off the books, I think I'd go ahead and do it. Now, I think Ryan Poles, the general manager in Chicago, I think he's an idiot. And so, I know that they're doing okay. Ben Johnson kind of runs the show there. But this contract that DJ Moore has is a problem for the Bears. And here's why. They've used these picks on receivers. So if you want to save your money, you would say, well, we've got Loveland and we've got Odunze and we've got Luther Burden and Ben Johnson can develop receivers and we can draft them and so on and so forth. We can save that $24.5 million, which is the amount of money that DJ Moore is due this upcoming season, and we can spend that elsewhere. And that does make sense. The problem is that 23.48 of that 24.5 is fully guaranteed. So can we just right now all agree that the 24.5 is guaranteed? Because it's technically 23.48, but the total is 24.5. If they can't find a single taker for DJ Moore, no matter what they offer or don't offer, if they can't find a single taker, then they're going to keep him on their team because what are they going to cut him and save $1 million? So DJ Moore's contract is essentially fully guaranteed this year. And let me make sure I get this right. On the 6th day of the league year, third day of the league year, $15.5 million of the $24.5 million due next year becomes guaranteed. So if you do pick up DJ Moore, you're not only committing to this year at 24.5, which is not crazy, but you're also committing yourself to 15.5 on the third day of the league year for next year. So Chicago is kind of in a tough spot if they want to move on from DJ Moore. So when it comes to this free agent board, DJ Moore is 29. Alec Pierce is 26. There's a little difference there. Romeo Doubs is 26. Rashid Shaheed is 27. Wan'Dale Robinson's 25. But are they as good as DJ Moore? And when it comes to trading for players, the one thing that you do not have to do is you do not have to pay a signing bonus, which is the big thing you have to pay when it comes to free agency. So, the way I look at DJ Moore, I say, okay, is DJ Moore falling apart? Is DJ Moore declining? Is DJ Moore, and here's what I came up with. DJ Moore's PFF grade last year was 67.8, which is exactly the same PFF grade that Calvin Ridley had last year. But the difference is DJ Moore plays 51 out of 51 games over the last 3 years and has not missed a game since 2020. With all due respect to Ridley, Ridley in that time period got suspended for gambling, left the team in Atlanta for mental health reasons, and last year broke his fibula. So DJ Moore is more consistent than Calvin Ridley. Not only has he been very consistent in his career, he plays 74% of his snaps out wide, 5.5 career drop rate, and he had 3 drops in each of the last 2 years. All the metrics last year for DJ Moore's career on like a per catch, that was the same. The production dropped, but I think that's just because there were more mouths to feed. They have 2 tight ends. They have 3 receivers. This is not the same as when he and Sam Darnold played together in Carolina, and the only person Sam could throw the ball to was DJ Moore. Now, the weaknesses for DJ Moore, he did have a down year by his standards. Lowest targets since his rookie year. Lowest yards, 682 of his career. You do have to commit to 15.5 next year. And he had the lowest PFF grade of his career last year, but it was still somewhat in line with, he's like a 70, 72. It was still somewhat in line with the 67.8 he had last year. So then comes, well, what would you rather do? Would you rather pay the big money to a Romeo Doubs, or would you rather pay it for really 1 year guaranteed of DJ Moore? Personally, I think I'd rather have the consistency of DJ Moore. Then think about this. Calvin Ridley, you can make a determination on by the 6th day of the league year, because that's when $4 million of his contract becomes guaranteed. You can eat the $4 million if you'd like, and then move on once you get a DJ Moore. But the way I look at it is, if I can get DJ Moore and give up basically nothing, then I wake up tomorrow morning with DJ Moore, Chim DK, and Calvin Ridley, and I still have a couple of days in the league year to make a decision on what I want to do with Ridley, who I can cut if I want to. So here's the deal I'm willing to make, and this may actually be a bad deal for the Titans. But I have determined I want DJ Moore. So here's the deal I'm willing to make for DJ Moore. I am willing to swap 4th-round picks with the Bears. The Bears, as of right now, have the 129th overall pick that in the 4th round. The Titans have the first pick in the 4th round. That is pick 101 overall, which has a little extra value to it at the top of the 4th round, because let's say Chicago were to make that deal, then they get all Friday night going into Saturday to take calls on that pick or decide, hey, this is the guy we really want at the top of the draft. That was the guy that, or the pick that ended up being Chim DK last year. The value of that pick, according to the draft trade chart, is that of a mid 4th round pick. So I'm not giving up a pick to the Chicago Bears. but I am giving them the value of a mid-4th round pick, and I'm getting DJ Moore. Now, once I get DJ Moore, that does not mean I am out of the market at receiver. What it does mean is I now have 6 days once the league year starts to decide what I'm going to do with Calvin Ridley. So if I've got DJ Moore and I want Rashid Shaheed, and Shaheed would make sense if I get DJ Moore because DJ Moore's outside at one of the positions. Shaheed is my speed guy at the other position, and DK, for right now, until we start drafting players, DK is in the slot. So if I were to do that, I could sign Shaheed, and I wouldn't be desperate to sign Shaheed, but I could sign Shaheed, and then once I sign Shaheed, because he'll be gone by the 1st or 2nd day of free agency, which is well before the 6th day of the league year, once I do that, then I can turn around and feel very comfortable in releasing Calvin Ridley. Now, it's not totally fair to Ridley, but that's the contract you signed. So I talked to 2 separate people in Chicago. One person told me if Poles can get that money off the books for a 4th round pick, he'd do it. Well, I'm not giving you a 4th round pick, but I'm giving you the value of a mid-4th round pick. And then I talked to somebody else who told me if they could just get him for a 5th, they'd do it. So I'd go to the combine next week and I'd say to Ryan Poles, hey, man, I'll take DJ Moore off your hands. But if I take, yes, way to fucking go, USA. Was that Hillary Knight? 2:04 to go in the game. And USA, USA, USA. Let's see what happened here. At the point, Knight's right in front. Oh, God, that was nice. Oh, that was nice. One-timer from the point. She gets her stick on it, deflects it into the net. All right, tied at 1. Fuck you, Canada. And that comes from somebody who, by the way, like my family is half Canadian. Lindsay actually wore what I got her for Christmas, and I totally screwed this up because I should have, instead of getting her, what happened is I got her like a authentic Canada jersey with her name on the back. And I got it for Christmas, but it, had to ship out of China. And so it took forever to get here. And so I told her, and I had a bunch of Christmas gifts. And I was like, by the way, there's one thing that hasn't come yet. And in hindsight, what I should have done is I should have just not told her about the jersey and then given it to her for Valentine's Day. But I didn't do that. And so I had to go buy Valentine's Day presents too. But she's wearing her Team Canada jersey to work today. And I am so happy for Team USA. All right, back to business. So I go back to the DJ Moore trade. I look at Shaheed as a speed guy down the field. I've got DJ Moore. I can do whatever I want with Calvin Ridley. I've got Jim DK, and I can still draft the receiver. And the money is not out of this world crazy. I think I kind of like it. I would bump into Ryan Poles at the combine if I was the general manager of the Titans. And I would tell Ryan Poles, hey, I'll take Moore off your hands. And I would be willing to offer a 5th round pick. And if he wants more, then what I would ultimately be willing to do is make that pick swap in the 4th round. But because the timeline on the negotiation is by the 3rd day of the league year, Chicago with that $15.5 million, Chicago could sit there and just say, hey, we got to do the deal now. So that's first thing. Now, I do see some of you guys in here talking about he's drooling over Rashid Shaheed right now. Someone says, yes, he's super high on Shaheed. Dude's a gadget player to me. The price on him is too high. Shaheed is not necessarily a gadget player. He's a stretch the field vertical threat. That's what he is. And you guys can tell me that that's not that important, but it was clearly important enough to the Seattle Seahawks, who absolutely needed Shaheed's speed on special teams and as that vertical threat to go with JSN. So give me a break on the Rashid Shaheed front.